How will you evolve in your level of consciousness? Do you need to evolve? What is the meaning? How will you evolve?
Awareness.
Good, good. So what is this awareness all about? How would you do it?
We should increase our perception.
Very good. How will you do it? Can you go to
be in consciousness? Be in consciousness.
If you go to the spa, by going to the spa, will you increase your level of consciousness? Huh? Is it how, Ashok? A good head massage? Who would like to try? Ashok is trying, but Ashok needs help. How would you raise your level of consciousness? Krishna. Ashok, I lost you, but I think you went offline. Krishna.
So good evening.
Good evening.
I did not understand the term. I first thought, actually, I was thinking only of human life, not the animal kind. So I thought there is only one consciousness. So the minute you said, how do you raise your level of consciousness? I'm confused. I thought the question must be waking, dream, what is that? Waking, dream state and deep sleep state.
No,
and
you can say it. No, you
Surya.
can say it. You can say it the way you want. Everybody has got their own way, na. See,
So now when you said,
a guy called Hawkins. A guy called Hawkins talks of levels of consciousness, and it's very different. It's a different challenge. He says that there are different levels of consciousness, right? So there are different levels of consciousness. Every emotion has its own level of consciousness. I was capturing that. Where did I write it? So there are different levels of consciousness as to scientific people. As to scientific people, there are different levels. There are 30, 40, 50, 60. They measure it from the brain, from
so that
the
means
brain
it is
angle.
linked. So is it directly linked to the brain then?
I'm asking you exactly. So therefore,
I understand. I did not. That is why I was thinking it is these three states in the higher state of consciousness, which is Surya state.
So
When you
that
are
is what,
always
yeah. So that's why I'm asking you, because one subject of spirituality, of enlightenment, is consciousness. One subject is happiness. One subject is God. One subject is peace. One subject is liberation. One subject is moksha. We go through all these subjects on a day-to-day basis. Correct.
right.
So, for example,
my very little understanding, I would say, from the calls which so mujhe laga, when you are in deep sleep, of course you enjoy deep bliss, but that is in your ignorance. But when you go to the Turiya state, it is in consciousness. It is in without ignorance. Then it is in the bliss of the truth consciousness, which you always say. But when we sleep, deep sleep is when you are in ignorance. There is Ananda, but in ignorance. That is
good.
the only thing I can contribute to. Only my limited understanding.
So how do you evolve in levels?
I have not crossed that state. I am still in these three states.
Which state?
Waking, dreaming, and the deep waker, dreamer, deep sleep. I'm oscillating like.
So have you reached Chaturyam, or you have not reached Chaturyam?
No. But again, let me tell you, sparks could be, because when you are in kind of a master, there is, I don't know, then I cross this state of that emotion. I don't know. I don't know whether it's that state. I don't know.
Okay, so as I told you, it's for example, according to Hawkins, he says pride level of consciousness is 175, desire is 125, courage is 200. So there are some people. I think Rajesh Shire sent this video to me, or I sent the video to him. I don't know where it came from, but they are trying to measure consciousness from the brain.
But so, sir, is it quantified?
No, I'm just telling you, after this call, you can Google and you can see level of consciousness, what it is on the internet.
From the calls, I thought it was infinite. The consciousness is infinite. So, kitna bhi finite you add, finite plus finite is only finite again, limited.
So you are right. So let us see what others have to say. Okay. Sukeshni and Rajendra, let's see what people. So you, from your point of view, I'm saying, you're talking about wake, waker, dreamer, sleeper, and you're saying I am not yet evolved in the level. So you try to ask me questions before the end of the call.
Right.
If you don't evolve in the level of consciousness, if you don't evolve, you cannot be enlightened.
Yeah. But how, okay, I'll ask later.
So is it an important question or not an important
Yes,
question?
yes, definitely consciousness. Yes.
Sukeshni and Rajendra. Sukeshni. Yes, Sukeshni. How to evolve in the levels of consciousness? Sukeshni, unmute, please. Yes, okay. Yes, Sukeshni. Please speak, Sukeshni.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please speak.
You can hear me?
Yes, please speak, Sukeshni.
Sir, is it living in the present moment? Will that help?
Living in the present moment is living in consciousness. Correct. You're right. The question, Sukeshni, how to evolve in the level of consciousness? How do you evolve?
Yoga.
Okay, good. So when you do yoga, how do you measure?
I think I'll type and send the message. I'm traveling actually.
Okay, type and send. Okay, Rajendra ji, please, Rajendra ji. Rajendra ji, how do you evolve? What is evolving in levels of consciousness? Why people are struggling to unmute today? Hi, Bolo Rajendra.
Sir, I think first I have started evolving from the same date when I came to the call. That was the first consciousness state that I became conscious of these, because there is something different to be done in the life. That is first consciousness. Starting. Then I started yearning for God, deep yearning with triple yearning, maximum yearning.
But that is, sorry, Rajendra, sorry to interrupt you, but that is not evolving in levels of consciousness.
But if we go step by step, that means I'm evolving.
No, you're evolving on the journey of enlightenment. But how do you evolve in levels of consciousness? What is consciousness?
Consciousness it is state of being. It is state of being.
How do you level? Okay, good. I'm letting you all. I'm letting you all define it in your own way, like Krishna defined in her own way. So it is the level of being. Correct. You are right.
Because
how do you evolve in that level of being? Being.
Because yes. Now, if I have understood the level of being to be in consciousness, then I will try to practice more such things. Such practices, which will help me to maintain the state of this being.
How will you identify it? How will you come to know that you're evolving?
The maximum time I will remain in this state of being, I feel that I am evolving.
Very good. How will you know? How will you know how much time you are in this state of being?
So long I will be out of mind. So long there will be no mind. So long
Very
I will
good.
be Satchit Ananda.
Excellent. How do you measure? How do you know that you are improving in that method or that state?
It's simply, sir, the prolongation of the Satchit Ananda will be improvement in the stage of this.
Very good. Excellent. Now I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
How many minutes were you in Satchidanand today, and how many minutes were you in Satchidanand yesterday?
Yes. I think for more than an hour I remain in Satchidanand today, because I am on fast. Yesterday, somebody, as I told you, somebody disturbed me. So it was, I think, for half an hour only.
Can I tell you something?
I don't measure the time probably, but
I was just going to tell you that you are not measuring it, and you have not.
But I comfortably feel when somebody came to me, why are you lost? What are you doing? You didn't ring me. You didn't pick up the phone. So that time I found that it was 1 hour, half an hour, and more than that.
Okay. So Rajendra has given us a different perspective of level of consciousness. But my dear friends, go slow today. Today is not a running call. We are going to have Karma Kaur next. But I want to ask you all to understand this point very clearly because it's a very important aspect of life. Karma Kaur, I think you have been attending the call. Last time we missed giving you an opportunity because the time was up. But Karma Kaur, please unmute and speak. Karma Kaur, can you please speak? We have to unmute and speak, Karma Kaur.
Yeah, yes.
Yes,
So sorry for the name because that name was put by my daughter. So in fact, to raise the level of consciousness, I feel is to be in a state of happiness, to be around people whom you enjoy, to kill your ego, and to fulfill your desires which are there.
to fulfill.
Yeah.
Okay. But level of consciousness, first 1 or 2 points were right. But I don't think level of consciousness is about fulfilling desires. Because desires has nothing to do with consciousness.
Okay. But okay.
But your first point was right. What did you say? Your first point? Your first point was right.
Yeah, to be in a state of happiness and to enjoy the people.
No,
To be in the
one more
company of
point
people.
you said.
Yeah.
You said one more point. So see, Karma Kaur, I think you're a little bit new to this call, and I'm happy that you're joining us every day at 8 o'clock. But if we want to reach that state of nirvana, moksha, mukti, jivan mukta, satchidananda, it is very important to evolve in levels of consciousness. And let us see what other people also have to say. Thank you, Karma Kaur. Girish and Samatma, and then I'll come back to Krishna. Girish.
By being a witness of whatever experiences we have
Very
in
good.
an uninvolved manner,
Very good.
without the notion of karta or bhokta, we
Very
can
good.
evolve in the level of consciousness.
That will put you in a state of consciousness.
Yes.
How will you evolve?
When we are firmly established as an
Therefore,
uninvolved witness,
then you are,
job
if you
is
are
done.
established. Okay, so are you telling me now, Girish, that you will be established as a witness in consciousness 24 hours a day? Will you be established in that state of consciousness as a witness, not karta, not bhokta, 24 hours a day? Will you do it?
No, no.
Then how will you evolve?
Whenever thoughts attack, we can come back to that state and
How will
claim the status of being a observer.
Excellent. How will you evolve?
By constant inquiry. Whenever some thoughts trouble us, to whom this thought is coming, who am I? By deep inquiry,
But okay,
that
how will
problem
you,
can be solved.
so will you be constantly in inquiry 24 hours a day?
No.
Then how will
Initially,
you,
as far
how
as
will you know?
possible, yes. Then it will be automatic. There is no need of any inquiry.
But do you think inquiry is consciousness? You actually think inquiry is consciousness, or consciousness is beyond inquiry?
It is beyond. But to take ourselves beyond Maya, it is required.
So that inquiry is a beginning state of evolving in consciousness.
Yes.
Then what happens, Girish?
Then water becomes crystallized into ice.
Yeah, okay. Water, and then when your water becomes crystallized into ice, then it remains frozen in ice. Will you be frozen in consciousness?
That is the goal.
But the ice will melt again and it becomes water.
We need to be watchful, like a
by watchful,
watchman.
the water will become ice again.
There is no need to. Once it has become fully metamorphosized, then there is no chances of coming back.
That means the evolution of consciousness is finished.
Yes.
My last question to you, therefore, can evolution of consciousness be finished?
As far as this body is alive, our effort should be to take it to further higher level.
Very good. So you are giving very precise, focused answers, but continue to think before the end of the call and come back. Is there anything more you want to add? See, let me tell you one thing. This is a very unusual topic. Nobody will talk of this subject. And I'm telling you, when I was studying this subject came to me somehow. Somebody asked questions, somebody sent some video. And I went and they said the brain, they study the brain and they decide the level of consciousness. I was telling you level 200, level 300, then level 400, level 800. And they are trying to do checking the brain activity. But the brain is alive because of consciousness. And you are checking the brain to try to identify the level of consciousness of the very consciousness that gives life to the brain. How can that brain tell you how much consciousness when that consciousness is giving life to the brain?
Because all those experiments are based on the notion that matter creates consciousness. Actually,
Correct.
it is otherwise.
Good, Girish. Very good. So, Girish, again, we are still at that state and we want a better answer or a more defined. Your answers are all correct. But in this Zoom call, every day at the end of this Zoom call, everybody has to go home with the understanding how to evolve in consciousness. We have not yet got a very clear understanding of this. We are trying to get clarity. Sip will give the answer before end of the call. I don't know the answers still. Samatma. Answer will come. Samatma. And then bliss. Yes, Samatma.
Cannot take away our peace, and we can be in Satchidanand. That is the
Repeat,
time
please.
you can say you're
No,
evolving.
You were frozen the first few seconds. Please repeat what you said.
When the outside world cannot take away our peace of mind,
Very good.
cannot shake us, and we can
Yes.
remain in Satchidanand, only then we can say, yes, we are evolving.
So tell me, can you evolve? Is there a way to measure it, or is there a way to define it, or to identify it? How are you evolving in levels of consciousness?
Levels of consciousness, I don't know. I thought this is one way, like if nothing can shake me, then okay, I can say at least I am evolving a bit.
No, then if nothing can shake you means in that state, Samatma, you have become sip.
No, I'm not saying nothing is shaking me. I said if nothing shakes me.
So how can you reach that state when nothing shakes you?
For that, I have to still evolve.
Can you reach that state? How can you evolve? That's exactly the question. You have defined, you have explained it beautifully. So what is the state of consciousness is what you said. Please repeat now. What is the being in the state of consciousness?
When the outside world cannot take away my peace of mind or cannot shake me.
Very good. And this somebody, I think, who told this? Rajendra ji said this, I think Rajendra ji said this. When you are in that state where there are no thoughts, where the thoughts cannot trouble you. Rajendra ji was saying it in a very nice manner today. I don't know where we reached when he was talking, Rajendra ji. But so when you are, even Girish said beautifully, when you're firm, when you're firmly in that state. But today we are trying to go one step beyond. And that is, how can we evolve in that state? How can we
by being as an observer, you realize that nothing.
Okay, you are.
Everything is my.
Okay, so you are in that state. You are the observer. You are in that state. How can you evolve in that state?
By always being in a state of yoga. And,
so can you always be in yoga?
The gap between the two yogas, I have to fill up with Prema Yoga. I try to do it.
Very good. Very good. Very good. You're getting to the point, but you've answered it in a different term. You answered it in the terms of yoga. Please come back and answer it in the terms of consciousness.
Okay.
You answered it, but you answered it in terms of yoga.
Okay.
Now it's a parallel line. Consciousness is one line, yoga is another line. What you're answering is, how can I be in a state of yoga all the time? Now that is a different thing. But you've jumped. It's not wrong. It's a parallel line. You understand parallel line?
Yes,
You've just jumped to the next line and you're going forward you're going like this. Instead of being on this line, you jump to the next line and you're going forward. Now jump back to consciousness and try to tell us. Bliss, but don't go away. Bliss, Bliko, Rumataji. Bliss.
Shwam, dear.
Sure. Tell me,
Shwam.
Bliss.
I think we are in consciousness when we are able to choose what we want to feel.
Excellent.
We start from fear, anxiety, jealousy, and all the bad mood we can get, and we change it in joy, happiness, love, and really a good mood. When we change the bad mood for the good mood, but we do it in consciousness. We say,
Very good.
stop,
Very
it's
good.
enough.
So-
And we change the mood.
Very good. Your answer is 100% correct. Bliss has given one answer. I don't know if you caught the answer, but Bliss has given a very important answer. Now, Bliss, how to evolve, how to become better in that state?
It's when you are able to choose.
How
When
to,
you-
yeah, you are right. You are right. How to evolve? Evolve, you understand? Evolve? How to
Yes.
become better?
we evolve when we are able to choose what you want to feel, we want to be. Okay?
Okay.
If I have anxiety about something,
Yeah.
I have to do this thing to get better. And I have really to advance and
Okay.
take
Let me ask you a
step
question.
by step to get better.
1 second. You said if I have the ability to choose if I am able to discriminate and choose, then
Yes.
I am in that state of consciousness. Are you able to choose all the time? Are you able to be a master of choice? And are you able to have the intellect active all the time?
No, all the time. It's not
Yeah.
possible for now.
How to
But
how to be that?
I evolve.
How to evolve?
How to evolve? It's when you come back to switch.
Good. Very good. Very good. Okay. Very good. Now you win.
The
Now you win.
mind and consciousness. You flip the coin.
Where's the
mind
coin?
and consciousness.
Where is your coin? Where is your coin?
It's the other side.
Okay, Blitz, Blicko, over to you, Blicko. Okay, Blitz, you she got she got the card. Okay, Blicko. Let me come back to Blicko. So we are advancing. Good. Thank you. And we have not got the answer yet, but we are getting close to the answer. Blicko.
So, so evolve. Shivoham, everybody. So conscious. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Okay. So consciousness, evolving consciousness, because I don't understand that levels of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You cannot number the consciousness because consciousness is all one. It is a state where your mind is no more.
Good.
When your mind is still and your thought is not disturbing you, that is the level of consciousness, right?
Good.
Now,
no, that is being in consciousness. That is being in consciousness.
Being in consciousness. And our challenge is to be in consciousness all the time.
Correct.
Right? And that all the time is only waking state we can do it. Other two state is not in our hand.
So leave that state.
Correct? So because consciousness is there when we are sleeping, when we are in deep sleep, it is there. But to remain in consciousness is a challenge. So for that, we have to master the mind. Mind has to become monk. That is a process. And that with that process, you can come back to consciousness, CBTC. How quickly you can come back to consciousness.
Very
in
good.
The beginning, that is a step 1, step 2, step 3. Once your rate of coming back to consciousness is reduced, you are evolving in the level of consciousness.
So have you measured this for yourself, or today is the first time you're talking about it?
No, I am constantly measuring it, and I fail, and it reminds me immediately that stop it, stupid. My mind is going in that direction because somebody will steal the peace and you lose the consciousness because your mind become active at that time, and you are influenced by that situation, and you lose your consciousness.
So I'm again asking you, what you explained is very beautiful, and it is a summary of what everybody has said. The question that we are talking is, so would you like to say, what is it evolving in this level of consciousness? So would you like to define that in one line?
So we have to master the mind. We have to make the mind to monk.
Okay,
that is the
good.
only way.
Okay. Okay, good. Because thank you. You've summarized it very beautifully. But if you ask me, your last line is getting back into the method of, but it is not the answer. See, because each of us in this call is a master, in the sense that each of us has mastered all the subject to some extent or the other. This call is not for some newcomer coming to this call, their head will go spinning around. That ye log kya baat kar rahe hain, kya consciousness ki baat kar rahe hain, kya evolve. They will not even understand what is the meaning of consciousness. Somebody coming on this call today, they will be at a big loss. Because sometimes we talk of simple thing like happy mantra. Sometimes we talk of today's subject is a very advanced subject. Evolving in the levels of consciousness. There must be clarity. So Bliko, maybe you would, before the end of the call, want to put it together in one. You have said 10 good things. I want one good thing out of those 10 good things. You have said about 10 good things. So it doesn't matter. I mean, just let's wait. I also don't know what is the right one good thing. So just let you please try to do your best. Rumataji, Chidanand, Vanita, for the moment. Rumataji.
Pranam Guruji.
Pranam Mataji, bataiye.
Shivoham Guruji. Guruji, I can understand that when we fall into bhoga,
yep,
then we are not in consciousness. Then there
Correct.
is no question of consciousness. But by practice, we can come back immediately to consciousness and get away from bhoga. We cannot be in both the stages. Either we are in bhoga or in yoga. So
now you have Rumataji, you are also right, but you have gone along with Samatma on a parallel line. Abhi Samatma ko main abhi bataya. That's not, your answer is not wrong. Your answer is 100% right. But there are two different lines. One line is the line of yoga. One line is the line of consciousness. The line of consciousness is different. The line of yoga is different. Both are the same. Both are parallel. Two parallel lines. Two parallel lines like a railway track. Two lines of the railway track that are going towards the destination.
Guruji, we are perfect in consciousness when we don't fall back into bhoga. We are 100% in consciousness. That is the ultimate. We are one with God. But
Okay,
when we sleep, we sleep, then we are nowhere.
Okay, what you're saying is very right. And I wish we had I think we need to undo one session. It's maybe tomorrow, administrator, the connection between consciousness and yoga. I will do it, if not today, not tomorrow or day after tomorrow. What is the connection between consciousness and yoga? I mean, we have to discover it. Chidanand. Thank you, Rumataji. Chidanand.
Thank you, Guruji.
Shivam, Guruji.
Shivam, sir.
I have a slightly different perspective.
Yes.
Because there cannot be level of consciousness, but there can be a level of awareness.
Okay.
So what Stephen Hawking and all talk, because they always have that, because then we have to flip from, if we say his definition of consciousness we stick to, then we have to jump to awareness. But in our group, we have a particular understanding of consciousness. However, for Stephen Hawking, the awareness is in the mind. And there can be a multiple levels of awareness depending upon the degree of intelligence or buddhi that one can use.
Okay.
So I can measure whether at what level of my viveka I am using. But I firmly believe there cannot be levels of consciousness. Consciousness is what it is. And we evolve because the moment we still our mind, we then start operating our buddhi. And as we learn and practice, either by nirodha or by yoga, either way, the two paths. But finally, it is buddhi. And as we evolve and we use there are multiple levels of buddhi, like buddhi is there, then you've got medha, then you've got pradnya. So these are the levels of awareness as you are reasoning and intellectual power of viveka and
No,
use.
so therefore I
There's no
completely
levels
agree.
of consciousness. There's a levels of
No,
awareness.
I I don't want to get into this division because we are not, to us in this group, that awareness is consciousness. So we are not trying to get to the worldly understanding of it. So
Correct.
I'm just asking, I'm with all due respect and to your point of view, Chidanand, I'm just giving you a small thought before end of the call. Kindly come back. I'm just asking you this. Okay, Chidanand. So now, Chidanand, you're sitting in the office. You're sitting in the office and you're listening. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. You are there, that's playing, and somebody brings a balance sheet in front of you, and you're taking the balance sheet, and with all due respect, you have complete command on the balance sheet, because like Bliss said, and you also said, Bliss told us, if my intellect is active and I can discriminate, now you are in a state of perfect discrimination, which means that you are in a state of perfect awareness. All right. Now suddenly you get a call and somebody drives you up the pole. You understand the meaning of driving you up the pole? We all have people in this. We have people in this world who will just drive us up the pole. Means they will make us mad. Some people, they have the strings of our life and we become a puppet to such people. For example, now such a person calls you and shakes you and wakes you and rakes you and takes you by storm. Now you have lost.
Consciousness.
You got, forget about conscience. You've lost your peace of mind. Now the next sheet of the balance sheet you are checking, and the mistake is in front of your eyes, but you cannot identify that mistake because you are so shaken up that
the coin has flipped from consciousness to mind.
Now you understood what I'm talking or not? Now,
Yes.
is it a realistic situation or not a realistic situation?
No, I'm absolutely right.
So I want you to, therefore, we are talking about evolving in this part. We are talking of this. Now, we are not talking about the scientific, what they are saying. See, because if we do not evolve, Chidanand, in the state of consciousness, the level of consciousness, if our level of consciousness is such that we are so easily falling to the flipping over from consciousness to mind, then when will we reach the state of enlightenment?
Never.
We will never reach there. So
Never.
think about it. I know you had a different point of view, but now with this point of view, please see if you want to come back before the end of the call. Vanita, thank you. Vanita and then Vijay Kumar, Kailash, Krishan, Vanita.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
You said how to evolve. How do
It's
you
not really
evolve
how. It's about, we are just talking about evolving. How, whether you want to say how or whether.
Evolving in conscious. I think overcoming human sufferings and understanding, realizing and everything. And through your daily experience that you come across in life.
Yes, that also is part of evolving in consciousness.
Yeah.
But you know what, Vanita? How does that happen, Vanita?
I think the consciousness is not an object, but
Correct.
it witnesses something, the body and mind. That's what I feel.
But how will you evolve in that consciousness? For example, today,
by overcoming, when we try through the experience, as anything that comes in front of us, and you try to overcome that.
Suppose today, Vanita, you are suffering body, mind, and ego. Today you are suffering. So are you in consciousness?
No, if I am suffering, then I am not. Only when I try to overcome that.
Suppose you tomorrow overcome it and you're in consciousness, you don't suffer. Next 1 week, you don't suffer. Next 2 weeks, you don't suffer. Suddenly, again, you start suffering. Then what does it mean?
I'm not always in that.
Are you understanding what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Suppose I'm telling you something. Suppose I am not jealous today. I am not jealous today because I am in consciousness. I'm in awareness that I'll call this, I'm in soul consciousness. I am a divine soul. I become aware I am the divine soul. Yeah. And I am aware for the next 48 hours. After 48 hours, something happens. I become jealous and I lose. In Hindi, they say, Santulan kho baithna. What's the meaning? Santulan kho baithna?
Yeah.
Huh?
Imbalance.
Yeah, what happens? What is this balance? Why did you lose? What balance you lost? You were a sthit pragya, and in consciousness you were a sthit pragya. Suddenly you lost the sthit pragya because you are no more pragya. The pragya is no more sthit.
Yes.
And therefore your level of consciousness has gone for a toss. But instead, if it is 2 years since you last got angry, you were getting angry every 2 days, but now you have not got angry for 2 years, then have you evolved in the level of your consciousness?
Yeah, definitely there is an improvement, I will feel.
So this is something we have to...
For a week, if I'm not getting angry, if I'm not getting disturbed, sometimes it can happen. That means there is some improvement. Because previously it was not like that. There is some improvement in that.
And the moment we have completely overcome all these things, then
we are in pure consciousness state.
So this is exactly what this is what I'm making you all conscious about today. Today, I'm making you all conscious about becoming conscious about your level of your consciousness. Today, I am trying to make you conscious about you needing to be conscious about your level of consciousness. This is what I'm doing today.
Okay.
If you are not aware about your own consciousness level, suppose you don't even know when I got angry last, I don't know. No, do you have a notebook saying anger page? Do you have a notebook saying jealousy page? Do you have a notebook saying fear page? When was the last fear you had? I'm just giving you a methodology. Each of you can have your own methodology. I am saying, how do you reach that state? How do you reach that state of feeling that you are in consciousness? Okay, we have to close the call, unfortunately. We are just winding up time. Thank you, Varita. Vijay Kumar, quick comment, Vijay Kumar.
Namaskar, Guruji.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, everyone. Guruji, that is through practicing vipassana, practicing, watching, witnessing our cravings and aversion always. And vipassana is a master key, universal key that helps us to understand, increase our, improve our.
Thank you. That may be, so each one should find. Vijay Kumar has found his way. Good, Vijay Kumar. Kailash Kumar. Kailash and then Krishan.
Shivoham, Guruji.
Shivoham.
For the consciousness continuously, we require first is the practice and second one is the mentor. Okay, and continuous effort we require. Whenever we slip, then we need the practice. Then we will be in the consciousness stage. Whenever we slip, we need to why we are sleep.
Good, very good.
And
see,
mentor.
Yeah, so I am only telling, now what you all are saying is all correct. Each of you use your own methodology. Of course, we will have another session on similar lines where we will talk further. But today, before we close, Krishan, thank you, Kailash. Krishan?
Shivam, sir, according to me, consciousness is awareness. As the person is going to upper stage of spiritual awakeness, his consciousness is improved. And according to me, if I live like as a yogi, I will be always in consciousness, upper level of consciousness.
No doubt. Thank you. And today, I don't know how to connect the two, but I'm going to contemplate on the connection between consciousness and yoga. But you are all jumping from this one line to the other line. Thank you, Krishan. Chidanand and Samatma and Chidanand. Samatma, Chidanand, before we close.
Shivoham, sir.
Shivoham.
When we are totally decluttered, mind is totally decluttered and the thought rate keep decreasing. And finally, I'm always like living in the present moment, not swaying between past and present. In total nothingness. When you start living in nothingness, you can start evolving.
Then you have reached the ultimate. But the challenge is, can we live in nothingness? That is the challenge. See, they all talked of this coin, right? Can you all see this coin?
Yeah.
What is this coin?
Flipping from mind to consciousness.
When you flip the coin from consciousness, and the second side also is consciousness, then you have attained it. If you shift, both the sides have got, this coin is unique. This is from consciousness to consciousness. Both the sides of the coin has got consciousness. Then what happens? Then there is no mind.
Then there
When
is
you
no
are
mind.
able to still the mind and kill the mind, and then you have evolved in the level of consciousness. Chidanand and then Rajendra, we have to close. Only few seconds. Chidanand and Rajendra.
I just want you just said it now. Moment you kill the mind, you live in buddhi, and that is where the level you all go to the level of Siddha Prajna. But the Prajna can come down also because we are not. Then the mind comes. So when one is the consciousness which is there, and you flip back and you are in full whichever level. The ultimate state is the Prajna.
So can
the
we kill the
evolving
mind?
happens in the buddhi.
So can we kill the mind? Can we kill the mind?
Yes, if you are very alert, if your buddhi is alert, you can kill the mind.
Can we
And
stop
that is where the yoga, when you become good on yoga, you are really.
Can we stop all thoughts?
No, the thoughts will come in the chitta because that is the prarabdha.
Very
that
good.
is that itself
No,
is
no,
right.
Master Chidanand. So today we had many masters on the call. You all know it, right from Girish, Bliko, Bliss, Chidanand, Rajendra. Many of you, Samatma, Krishna, many of you have been masters today. But unfortunately, time doesn't let the administrator, I told you, will kill me if I continue any further. Rajendra, 10 seconds. Rajendra, unmute for 10 seconds.
Only one word: steady intellect. Steady
Yes,
intellect.
Okay, let me close with 20 seconds. Thank you, my dear friends. It's like this. When you reach the state of Satchidanand Atma, when you reach the state of Satchidanand Atma, you have evolved in levels of consciousness. When you reach that state where you pass all the yoga state is much lower. Mumukshu, Jigyasu, Jnani, Yogi, Buddha, then Jivan Mukta, Sthit Pragya, and Satchidanand Atma. Our challenge is to evolve in these levels of consciousness, to be in that state. Bliss said very good, but Bliss did not use the word bliss. You have to say, you have to lock your consciousness in the state of intellectual activation. You're always able to discriminate, always. The mind becomes your slave. You become the master. You become a monk. My dear friends, I hate to leave this call, but with folded hands, tomorrow at 8.